So we live in a world where pretty much everyone is giving up their energy and their life into things that are basically draining them away. So what we have is basically like a cosmic slavery system where people feel like they have to give their energy into the system, but the system doesn't give you kind of life back. So honestly, I really personally believe that purpose will probably save people's lives, because a lot of the times people be investing their time and energy in their own personal natures. Whether you're a very creative person or whether you're a very practical, logical person, a lot of the times people take these natures of themselves and put them into things that are kind of a de-evolution of those things. So if a person is not at taking their natures, taking their energy and putting it into a purpose that's greater than themselves, because what people don't realize is that when you put your energy and your life into your own personal natures, so you're actually evolving and shit like that, right? But think about the person that doesn't have a purpose and shit like that, right? You can have as much as money as you want, you can have access to whatever you want to, but whatever you do with that access, chances are it's going to be some negative stuff. Now I'm saying, like, we can all have access to, let's say for example, like guns, weapons like that, right? We can use it for self-protection and stuff like that. But the person that doesn't have a purpose in life, they're gonna run around chaotically, reacting and responding to how they feel about stuff, because a lot can't even control their emotions, right? So that type of person will probably use that as a way to destroy someone else, because that gun they're carrying doesn't have a purpose. Same thing with their mind. If the mind doesn't have a purpose, if a person is not directing them to a purpose that's greater than themselves, then that person will take these energies in some way, shape, or form and not only hurt themselves, but they will also hurt others, right? Like, for example, a person can love food too much, person can gain weight and be at the hospital because they can't walk anymore. But another person can use food in the same measure to fuel their purpose, to fuel their journey. So it's really important to have a purpose, because purpose gives us this filter optimization and this filter of balance, where we're no longer abusing life, we're actually trying to use life to actually help ourselves and help others, because purpose really balances things out. We start to realize, okay, yeah, I don't need this, I only need this much. Because one thing from a biological perspective is drink too much water, for example, you actually started to get like acid reflexes. So that's a sign that you've had too much water and stuff like that. So you see what I'm saying? It's like a balance that you gotta have, having too much and you're not having too little. And purpose is just one of those things that if humanity as a whole, we started to develop that in our lives and shit like that, would be better directed and shit, like, because a lot of people are misdirected in their lives, direct their energies, and then they start to do strange shit to fulfill certain desires that they can't fulfill, not knowing that, hey, some things go and some things come. Like, some desires you gotta let go of and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? So it's like it's we live in a society where everyone around us doesn't have a purpose, and people are destroying their own life, but it doesn't look like that, because in this society, like, if you destroy yourself, it's kind of celebrated, where everything is upside down. Think about a lot of the music artists that we engage and listen to, and they kind of promote an agenda of like self-destruction. A lot of these like artists, a lot of these rap talking about murders, killing people, hurting people. Why would we want to hurt each other if we can have an understanding of each other? So it just doesn't make sense. So a lot of these rappers really have a purpose, and what's happening here is all this access to money and power is causing them to spiral into the self-destructive cycle, and that self-destructive cycle is being marketed as something that's pretty and fashionable and beautiful, and then everyone to jump into that cycle and be like, yeah, this is what we're supposed to do. Because it's like, because when you talk about a lot of artists in the rap industry, they'll tell you the same thing. Like, if they rap about goodness, they won't necessarily get money and funds for it, but the system itself is set up so they can promote more of that self-destructive shit. But I sincerely believe that the only reason they go towards that direction is because they really don't actually have a purpose in life, and the only reason they got into that is because of the what do you call it, object syndrome, where people are jumping into stuff outside of them just because they want to have that thing. Yeah, we can both have money, but it doesn't mean that a person will be a good manager of that money. Just because that person has it doesn't mean they'll be a good manager of it. Their own internal nature that they can't monitor and direct, frequency of their mind, maybe that's gonna govern them way more that they're able to govern it, right? Like, a lot get lost in their internal natures versus using their natures for their purpose and shit. Like, so it's just really interesting, because as I start to get into like a life of purpose and stuff like that, like, I start to notice, like, damn, yo, I'm not even eating that much no more, I'm like smoking that much no more, I'm only just taking what I need and shit like that, because it's like there's a level where you start to abuse reality for the sake of your internal world, where like, yeah, let me go eat all this food because, you know, I'm feeling this way. I need to take care of my feelings by eating all this cake. That creates like disorder in the mind, and it also creates a certain level of biological disorder within the body and stuff like that, right? So purpose, ultimately, for real, that shit creates harmony on a mental level, on a physical level, and on a global level. Because if all the humans had some type of purpose, and we do, but it's just that, like I said, we get lost in the external world, the shiny object syndrome, whatever the fuck I was saying earlier and shit like that. I think like we're supposed to live for the external world, live for these external things, and these external things be the shit that be hurting our soul, damaging our soul. A person can die with like as much as money they want to. It don't mean they was happy, right? Look at a lot of these celebrities, for example. They can have the most amount of money, the most amount of girls, the most amount of women. These motherfuckers might be the most depressed ass motherfuckers in the world because they really don't got no purpose in life, yo. So their whole purpose is just living for the external world. Yo, let me make this many audience at my concert and shit like that. Like it gets deep and shit like that, where people like, if that external validation is not there, people start to go crazy. But it's because people can't like manage their own internal world. Where external world, a person will be lost forever, but the starting point is just really living within and shit like that. Shout out to Mooney Mercury Baby. Mooney Mercury Baby said, purpose gives you something to do. The mind won't be idle and open to distractions and habits. Yes, exactly. It's exactly right. Because a lot of the times, like, people just be attracted to the shit, not knowing that constructing and building their life, they're just letting their natures direct and guide them based upon certain things being enticing and stuff like that. So they start to just mislead themselves, external ends that don't necessarily fulfill them really and shit like that. So it just becomes a really crazy world where no one has a purpose and shit like that. Like, so because as I'm starting to do my purpose more and more, and I've always known my purpose and shit like that, but the more I do it, the more I start to think like, damn, like the only thing you actually need in life is just the purpose, is the direction. And that's how we come up with terminologies like, oh, oh, this person must be misdirected in some type of way. This person must have misunderstood the point about life in some type of way. Like, everyone can have their own direction and shit like that, but at the end of the day, like, you know, make sure you have some type of healthy direction that spirals you from getting out of these animalistic natures versus a direction that spirals a person's animal nature and causes them to be self-destructive to themselves and to be self-destructive to others and shit like that, to the point that a person might need some type of external facility to help them rehabilitate themselves, while this person should have saw from you know, just way before it happened. They should have saw where things were headed. But again, people get possessed by their own nature. They get lost in their nature, and they just start to like go crazy and spiral out of control in their lives. So, you know, it's a very world we in. But yeah, the more work I do on myself, the more I start to realize like, damn, this shit we be doing is like stupid. There's no point of this shit. Like, you just got to live a life of purpose, and everything will just align itself and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I'm gonna go get some groceries real quick live and shit like that. And I'm gonna see y'all when I motherfucking see you. Real shit.